maybe.
Yeah, that might be save a bit. Yeah.
And I think that might be the saving grace. But yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah.
Okay, your picture's very blurry, so I think you should take off your video as well.
Yeah, I'll just see how I can do that.
In the bottom of Skype, there's a little camera. Just click on the camera.
How's that?
There. That's it. That's it. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, your voice is coming through clearer. It does say poor connection, but let's just see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think it was just a poor connection from the video, because I've got to use this tomorrow for class, because our Wi-Fi for the house, that's for the second time packed up, and they don't really know why. They say our electricity probably is frying it because our electricity is not stable. And so we contact the agents. We need to have electricity tested. Anyway, we don't know whether that's going to happen or not.
Goodness.
Yeah. So we've had a hell of a storm today here. Hey?
Have you? Oh, okay.
We've had, for the first time, hectic hail. We've had hailstorms on our house, okay? In our garden, lambasting the birds and the bandicoots and everybody else in the garden. And strong winds, very strong. So, but we've got a little rain gauge in our garden that we sort of keep tabs. And from the beginning of July to the end of July, in our garden, we've had 400 millimeters. That's a hell of a lot of rain, eh?
That's a wet winter, that's for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. The forest is like a dam. You can't walk in it, and the park, the grass park, is also a dam. So you just see water standing wherever you go. And then our little river below our property, I call it a river. It's just like I suppose, a seepage stream that comes out somewhere. That's been running for the first time in 2 years.
Wow. Okay.
And looks quite attractive. There's a little bridge over it, and there's stones under the bridge. But yeah, that's our technique, and I think that's what's affected one way or another. I can't say directly, but it affected our internet connectivity.
That's frustrating.
You telling me it is? Hell, it is. Yeah. Anyway, I just we can only get another one of these Wi-Fi's when they've set it up, and so late tomorrow afternoon, hopefully we can collect it. And it's about 5 from where we live. Hopefully by Tuesday morning or Monday night we'll be back up again with our normal Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your story?
Oh, we're back down into lockdown again. Hard lockdown this time too. So.
That's so.
Yeah, they seem to think that it'll probably be for a while because there's lots and lots of community transmission again with this Delta strain, and they're very concerned it's going to be like Sydney Mark II. So I think we'll be locked up for a while.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, that's a first world problem that we have now, isn't it? So.
You're quite right. You're quite right. Yeah. we've got the kids back in the house again, and the son, just speaking quietly, that it come up, and at the moment they're walking, there's trouble in the house.
Oh, okay.
It's like, remember last time?
Yeah. So are they
exactly
back to stay,
yeah.
or are they
Yeah.
just visiting?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. At the moment, it looks like they're back to stay.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Broken up with the girlfriend and back again for the 4th time.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Anyway, they're in the house, so I can't chat too much.
No, that's okay. Well, if it's not convenient, we can just leave it till Wednesday if you want to.
Yeah, no, Sue's here. She's just warning me if they come up the passage. But yeah, it's just, it's not on, man. It's just simply not acceptable.
Yeah.
And you know, how do we deal with it? Is we just don't know.
No, well, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
And so, because it affects our quality of life, Sue's and mine, you know, enormously.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, because of the lies and the just all the
well, just not taking responsibility is the big part of it, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
So,
it's it. You know, if they just took responsibility for themselves, then you know we wouldn't get involved. We wouldn't.
No.
But
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, it's tough, you know. And you think, well, if they're not going to make decisions, you know, do we have to make decisions? You know, not for them, but you know, for ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to move out of reach, as it were. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's an option. Okay.
Mm.
You know, go and live in another part of Australia.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm. Anyway, because it doesn't matter where we live. You know, we just want to be together. You know.
Yeah.
You know, we have a great quality of life when it's just the two of us.
Mm. Mm.
But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it is difficult. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But we'll just see how long it lasts and see if they're going to make it. Because we're also now doing school lifts, and the kids in the other school where they were living before, which is half an hour's drive from here. And so, you know, when he's not available, we've got to do the school lifts. So,
Yeah. It's quite an imposition, really, isn't it? You know. So. Mm.
Meet to do it on Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. That's about it. Done. We're looking for more on Wednesday.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, did you just want to leave it as that today, or no?
No. Let's talk. Let's just carry on chatting. How does the lockdown affect you?
It just basically means that as it has been for a while now, every time you leave the front door, you've got to wear a mask. From a work perspective, I'm still okay, you know. But in terms of anything outside of work, I'm not allowed to go any more than 10 kilometres away from the 10 kilometre radius of the house.
Okay.
So, so that sort of means that you can only leave the house like to go and buy food or work or something like that, and that's about it, really. So, but that's okay. I'm quite happy to stay at home.
Is your mum within 10 kilometres?
Well, see, that's the other component. They immediately locked down all of the nursing homes, so there's no visitation whatsoever. So it's just phone calls. Okay. That's all you can get there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just just still rather rampant. And I see. I was just reading there before you called. Actually, there's apparently another another mutation called the Lambra or something like that version, which they think is potentially more potent again. So anyway.
Do you know that Sweden has had no lockdowns at all and no deaths of coronavirus?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something weird about that, Don. There's something weird about that. There's something, you know.
So do they have the vaccination program over there, or?
When in Sweden?
Yeah.
No, nothing. No vaccinations, no lockdown, no masks, nothing. Right from the word go, right from the beginning.
Because I don't know whether you saw, but down in Victoria, they're talking about introducing a vaccination passport, they're calling it. So basically, unless you've got this passport, you're not allowed to go to a restaurant or a movie or catch a plane, or, you know, so
they can't make it compulsory. I can't see it. I think, you know, your constitution stops that, I think, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they're talking about it is ridiculous. It's just.
Well, I mean, even like just with the movement of goods, like, you know, at the Queensland border at the moment, apparently, like, transport vehicles have to get a special permit to cross the border. I mean,
yeah,
it's almost like we're a separate country, you know. It's quite peculiar. So anyway,
almost like at war. You know?
Well, it has the same feeling about it, doesn't it? But it seems to be part of the human psyche at the moment, I guess. You know, on one of those forums I sort of posed a bit of a koan there this morning, you know, like a Zen koan, KOAN sort of thing. And,
yeah.
You know, and I just sort of say, like, oh, you know, what would happen if we could get a level of awareness which enabled us to communicate with trees and rocks and maybe the earth itself, and, you know, the mycelium, or, you know, just a level of awareness where you could have that sort of conversation. And then the scenario follows on that the trees then coach you through an evolution where, like them, you can photosynthesize, so you can get, you know, sustenance and life support just by photosynthesis of the sunlight. But the byproduct of that is that your skin has to turn green. But I wonder then if the people with white skin or black skin or yellow skin or red skin would look at the people with green skin in a very sort of suspicious way and maybe think that they're potentially quite dangerous.
Yeah.
So does that sort of level of knowledge and technology, does that solve the problems of the world, you know?
Yeah.
Probably not.
No, definitely not. The problems of the world will be solved talking about skin. When Moya says the future, the final root race is actually called the tan race. Okay? And that's when everybody, where white is mixed with black and all the other skin colors, and there's just a tan color in the majority of the population.
Yeah.
And that, like, immediately, you know, you can see it's strongly heading in that direction now, with marriages between black and white people and the Aborigines and
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, and you see it a lot also in South Africa, where No, and then the offspring are brown, you know.
Yeah.
So slowly that will disappear, that prejudice.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because I was just sort of hypothesizing that in the sense that, like even with the technology and the sanitation and the medical advances that we have in this age, you still, I think we had this conversation before, like you still pose the question of, well, are we happier? Are we more fulfilled as human beings? And
the answer is no.
no, not at all.
Yeah, it's yeah. I guess each individual person sort of wakes up to that slowly but surely, and particularly when they sort of reach retirement age, and now they realize are mortals, and so how do they change their life to enjoy the years that are ahead?
Yeah, that's right. And I think the other dimension as well is just the idea that you sort of often hear the younger people typically, but the idea that how do I make this world a better place?
Right.
And I think that the first question that flows on from that is well, compared to what?
Yeah,
so
you're quite right. You're quite right, because we've never experienced anything except maybe 6,000 or 10,000 years ago, 12,000.
yeah. Compared to what? And I think that's the trouble, is the point of reference is always people's perception of what it is now, and I think in many respects the idea of better has to be almost like a quantum shift. It's not just sort of moving 3 degrees to the right. It's sort of almost flipping to the other side of the universe sort of thing, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. Or probably more appropriately into another dimension.
Like the north to the south.
Yeah, or more appropriately probably into another dimension, So
yeah, agreed. Yeah. So, but yeah, so much is happening, and yet there's so little movement.
Isn't it quite a paradox, isn't it, really?
Yes, it is. You just you look, you observe, you listen, and thinking, what is it? Does nature have to come to the rescue? Okay, and give us a wake-up call, big time. Maybe a dramatic climate change that affects everybody, not just a certain sector.
Yeah.
Anything to make people come together.
Well, I think that's a big part of it, isn't it? The coming together. The separation is always the killer.
Yeah, and the scientists realize that it's about sharing. It's not about trying to patent something and make money out of their invention.
It's very interesting, because even on the topic of the vaccines, I read an article there on, I think it was on Friday or Saturday, and the company that was behind the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is one of the first vaccines, apparently they took the decision to, when they were selling the vaccine, to sell it at cost plus just a couple of percent. With their view, so this is how the story went anyway. So their view is that it was about doing the right thing for humanity, whereas Pfizer, on the other hand, has made billions and billions, like hundreds of billions of dollars out of its vaccine. Big pharmaceutical.
Yeah.
And the suggestion was being made that a lot of the negative press and talk and everything about the AstraZeneca vaccine was actually their competitors trashing them because of their pricing policy.
Okay. It doesn't stop.
It just goes on and on, doesn't it? You know.
It's,
What do they call that? Honour among thieves, don't they, or something?
sorry, I missed that.
I said they call that honour amongst thieves, don't they? Yeah.
Yes.
Or dishonour amongst thieves.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, it is what it is. Yeah.
You know, yes, it's so right. That statement it's such a cliche, but it's so right. Okay, there's nothing that you and I can do for the global picture, but we can do for the individual picture for ourselves.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the folly of trying to do something for the global picture, in one sense, you know, like you get into these silly scenarios where it's like, you know, my view is that, you know, we'll truly be happy when each and every one of us has a red Ferrari in our garage.
Yeah.
But then someone down the road pipes up and says, no, it's not red, it's got to be yellow. Yellow is going to lead to the happiness. And then someone else says, no, it's not a Ferrari, it's actually a Porsche. It's actually a Porsche. It's going to, and we feel so strongly about it that we're prepared to kill the red Ferrari advocates. You know, it's like, oh goodness, you know.
Right.
And that's the challenge, isn't it? You know, that and I think it's like going to be a big challenge for the likes of ALLATRA, and that is that, and I guess they've considered that in the sense that, you know, creative society, you know, and all the discussion they have around it, but the thing that's actually going to unite is going to be the disaster, isn't it? You know, the crisis. That's the only thing that's going to unite people.
That is, and you know, and I think what appears to be happening right now, but it's been obviously, as usual, totally camouflaged by the press, and that is the whole financial system. You know, the quantum computer, the quantum finance computer, that I mean, I don't know. You just can't find stuff on the internet because they are not talking about really what it is.
Okay? Yeah.
And, but the bottom line is, people, the quantum, there's nothing that you can hide from, let's say, the quantum computer, okay? Because it's not a computer. Okay, I think that it's unfortunate they use the word computer, but it's, in a very broad sense, it is a computer. But you can't hide from it. You can't hide a single transaction. Not even on cryptocurrency can you hide a transaction. So you, as a clerk in a bank, you know, you can't hide that little bit of money you put away into your account and slipped it through transfer. It's everything is transparent. Okay.
Yeah.
So people have been locked up. Now they've been locked up at the moment. Okay. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's. And you know, the mere fact that banks are now paying enormous credit card interest. Okay. They're now having to charge 1%, okay, instead of 17 or 20%. And the first bank in England has said they're getting out of banking, okay. There's not enough money in it.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's change happening right now. But until the press actually show everybody what's happening, you know, people are still going to be And when they asked, why haven't you put this on your front page? They say, we'll frighten the people. We don't want to frighten the people. And,
it seems to be perhaps linked to that emerging technology. And again, there's very, very little to be said about it anywhere. But they're sort of saying that, like even with space travel, for example, that there's a generation of technology coming now where the spacecraft are directed by intention. So the propulsion comes around by the creation of an intention for it to move from one place to another. So it's almost a bit like how perhaps our electrons behave and that sort of thing. But the driving part of it is this quantum field, which the observer creates the intention, and hey presto, that possibility comes into being. So.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I haven't read anything like that. That's up my alley. That's up my alley. You must forward things to me that anything to do with quantum like that, because I'm finding it difficult. It's like Google is hiding stuff. Even Firefox, even DuckDuckGo. I just can't get always the stuff that I'm looking for. That I use out there, because maybe some of the alternative press have mentioned it, and so you go looking for it and just can't find it.
I think I actually read that in a New Scientist article, I think.
Okay. Have a look. I get the emails. Yeah.
I'll have to see if I can track it down and send it to you.
Yeah, do that. But I'll also look, because the emails come so frequently, I can just sort of glance through them before I file them away, because I need the information from them and others that I do as well, for my exploring science class. So there's so much to put into a class. It's a matter of what do I do that is different totally to what I did last time.
Yeah, I think
looking for bits.
I think one of the fundamental challenges in terms of trying to get our head around it, and that is, like, again, we've always been conditioned on logic and reasoning. But we know that in the quantum field, logic and reasoning are very, very minor players, like fringe dweller almost, so.
Yeah.
So I guess for some people to even try and remotely contemplate how quantum mechanics works, it's almost as if they just can't see it and it's just filtered out, so it's that conditioning. So.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're conditioned and can't see it. Because what was that? What was that old story about can't see that? When Columbus or something discovered America, the Indians didn't see the ships or something.
Yeah, they couldn't see the ships. Yeah.
Couldn't see the ships because it wasn't in their consciousness. They didn't know.
Yeah, they'd never seen anything like it before, so they couldn't see it.
Yeah. I find that odd, but it's like that anyway. So we've probably got a modern day version here now.
Well, I'm sure there is actually. Yeah, I'm quite certain there is.
Yeah.
And it comes back to that word awareness, doesn't it? So.
Yes, it does. For a starting point, anyway. But I think I'm aware now. I really need. I want information because it intrigues me. It really does. I think I must have been a Lemurian a long, long time ago, because it like waking me up that the mere fact that it exists, and then frustrates the hell out of me because I can't find enough information.
Mm. No, I know that feeling that you have. It's like a deep knowing, isn't it? But
Yes.
yeah.
And you know that you need to know more. That there is more to know.
Mm.
And that it's definitely so. Coming back to how we got onto this was, there's change right now, and that's where the change is. I mean, the quantum computer is up and running, and the quantum financial system is up and running, and tracking everything that's making the rich illegally. Not talking about illegal trade, illegal pain for child molestation and trafficking and so on. That's all being uncovered now quickly and fast. So just as long as we have enough white hats to put these people in prison,
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? And to liberate what needs to be liberated, I guess.
Yeah.